Do you want to be pushing some serious Greater Rift levels? Well, you've come to the right place because your dear old uncle is going to be taking you through the full Rayquaza set Hammer of the Ancients Charger build, which is currently dominating the leaderboards. It is in #1 position, closely followed by the Immortal King's 6-piece Rayquaza 4-piece Charger build. That's still a really good build to play as well, but this one currently is definitely the #1 dominant, closely followed by the old-fashioned Charge build, which I've already done videos for, so check out those uploads if you haven't already. I'll definitely link them at the end of this video on my end screen. But today, we're talking about the Hammer of the Ancients Charger, so let's have a look and see what's involved with this build, and we'll go through the mechanics, and I'll give you guys an example of what you need to do in a Greater Rift in order to fully utilize all of the potential of this build. So for skills, we'll start with skills. We're using Hammer of the Ancients with Smash, we're using Furious Charge with Battering Ram, Threatening Shout with Demoralize, Battle Rage Bloodshed, Wrath of the Berserker with Insanity, Ignore Pain, Ignorance is Bliss. For the passives, we are using Ruthless, Brawler, Boon of Bull Kathos, because we want to try and keep that Wrath of the Berserker up as much as possible. It's a huge damage increase, and Berserker Rage. And we are going to be at maximum fury pretty much the entire time, so this is definitely going to benefit us big time with the 25% additional damage while at maximum fury, which we will be pretty much at all times. Looking at the gear, so we definitely want the 6-piece Rayquaza legendary stats there. So we want to make sure that they're all active, 2, 4, 6, which they are. And if you're playing this season is the season of Grandeur, which means we benefit from the Ring of Royal Grandeur, and we can also have 1 set item less. So as you can see here, I've got 5 set items equipped. I've got the helm, I've got the shoulders, I've got the gloves, the pants, and the boots. In the chest piece, instead of a Rayquaza chest piece, I'm using a Killer Karas, which is going to definitely benefit us with damage reduction, because we are going to be at maximum fury pretty much 100% of the time, and while above 91% fury, then damage is taken by 50%. So we're going to pretty much benefit from this the entire time when we're playing with this Hammer of the Ancients Charging Barbarian. The other items we're using are Traveler's Pledge with the Compass Rose there. I'm using Convention of Elements, which is super important for this build. You can either have Convention of Elements equipped, or if the ring that we have in Canise, which we'll get to shortly, which is Band of Might, if that rolls a lot better stats than your Convention of Elements, then you can definitely just switch them around and have Convention of Elements in your Canise Cube and just equip your Band of Might. It just depends how good the stats are on the actual item itself. Either way, it doesn't really matter. The braces we're using, Braces of the First Men. This is super important. Hammer of the Ancients attacks 50% faster and deals 456% increased damage. The belt that we're using is Pride of Cassius. It increases the duration of Ignore Pain by 6 seconds, and even if you get like an Ancient or Primal Ancient, it might only increase the duration of Ignore Pain by 4 or 5 seconds. I would definitely work towards a 6-second one, because it's just so important to stay in Ignore Pain or have that skill active and up, ready to activate, because we do take a lot of damage when we try and push high Greater Rifts with this build. And the weapons that we're using, Little Rogue together with the Slanderer. So these two babies, when they come together, they have a set bonus, and that is every time you spend primary resource, which we're going to be doing a lot of the time, gain 6% increased attack speed, damage, and armor for 5 seconds. This effect stacks up to 5 times. So super useful for this Hammer of the Ancients charging build. The gems we're using, the legendary gems are Esoteric Alteration, Bane of the Stricken, and Bane of the Trapped. Definitely using the Diamond Gem in the helm here, because cooldown reduction is so damn important for this build. And then I'm using the Diamond Gem, Diamond Gems in my chest piece and Diamond Gems in my pants. Full Diamond Gems just for that resistance, which is super important for our survivability. And of course, make sure that you're using Emerald Gems in your weapons so you can get that increased critical hit damage. Now, as far as stat priority goes for each item, you're going to want cooldown reduction, area damage, followed by strength, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage. This build really relies on your cooldown reduction and also your area damage. So wherever you can get area damage, like I got cooldown reduction there. This is far from the perfect gear as well, people. Just so, don't judge me by the gear that I have equipped. I definitely want I need more cooldown reduction still, because you want to try and keep your Wrath of the Berserker up as much as possible. You're not going to have it 100% of the time because we really need that Immortal King's buff or stats that are available on that set. So we're going to be missing that, so we can't keep it up 100% of the time. But you do also want to try and keep your Ignore Pain up 100% of the time, or as close to as possible, because we'll take a lot of damage in those higher Greater Rift pushes. So cooldown reduction is super important, and then you got area damage, which is also super important to really expand the area of damage and increase it with those Hammer of the Ancients. So as you can see, I've got area damage there. Ideally, I need a lot more area damage and cooldown reduction, but I don't really want to spend too much time playing with this build. I want to definitely move on and go through the Whirlwind build and every build that the Barbarian has to offer. I've got a lot to get through, so I'm just going to start moving really quickly through builds, and my gear may not be perfect, but it still works very well, and you can definitely push some higher GRs, and you might decide that this one's for you. You want to move on with this build and focus on it. That's fine. Whatever you guys and gals want to do, it's all good. Now, fire damage. 20% fire damage will be definitely ideal for your braces and your amulet there. I haven't got it on my amulet there, so that's another item that I really need. I really need a Traveler's Pledge with 20% fire damage, plus that socket for the gem, and then obviously strength, critical hit chance, critical hit damage would be nice, but beggars can't be choosers, hey? Now, the helm over here, you can see I've got increased Hammer of the Ancients damage by 15%, so make sure you roll that. It's going to increase your Hammer of the Ancients damage by, believe it or not, 15%, and you can do the same thing here for your boots, which I've only rolled 14 there, but definitely keep trying to re-roll and get your 15%. So, helm, boots, 15%. Hammer of the Ancients damage, and like I said, prioritize cooldown reduction and area damage, followed by strength, and then critical hit chance, critical hit damage. It is kind of a strange build, but it definitely will work a lot better with more cooldown reduction and more area damage. Definitely. So let's talk about Can Ice Cube. In the weapon slot, you 100% must have the Gavel of Judgment there. The damage of Hammer of the Ancients is increased by 800%. It's just, and it returns 25 Fury if it hits 3 or fewer enemies. So not only are we doing 800% increased damage with Hammer of the Ancients, we're also regenerating our Fury. So it's a must-have, and that'll keep Fury at 100% the whole time, which will in turn keep Berserker Rage active, multiplying our damage by 25%, and also adding 50% survivability because of a Killer Cuirass. So super handy item there. In armor, I'm using Mage Fist, so fire skills deal 20% increased damage. You can also equip this in your gloves and have the Rakor's chest equipped, and then just have a Killer Cuirass there. Totally up to you, depending on the stats that roll on the item itself. And in jewelry, Band of Might, adding to our survivability, which is super useful, and we're going to be benefiting from that 100% of the time, because we're going to be charging all the damn time, like animals. Paragon points really quickly here. So, like I've mentioned before, you definitely want to get your movement speed up to a maximum of 25%, which is the cap. It's the cap through items and through Paragon points. So, as you can see, I've got 12% on my boots, and I had another item with movement here. So Compass Rose has 11% movement speed as well. I knew I had another item with movement speed. So 12, 11, we only need 2 more, and that gives us the total 25% cap. So that's why I've got 2 there. Everything else into strength. With offense, 100% you want to go cooldown reduction first, followed by crit chance, crit damage, and then attack speed. For defense, you want to go resist all, then armor, then life regeneration. And then utility, of course, area damage, which is like one of the most important stats for this, together with cooldown reduction. Dump your points into that first. Then you want to go life per hit, then resource cost reduction, and then gold find. We're not worried too much about resource cost reduction because we're going to be charging, which actually generates Fury. So resource costs aren't going to be an issue with this. I hope that makes sense. Very important thing to note is down here, as you can see my mouse cursor, bang! As soon as fire, the fire element is active, that's when you want to be using your Hammer of the Ancients. Because it's going to, if you look at Convention of Elements here, gain 182% increased damage to a single element. So once that fire icon is displayed and is active, that's when you want to be using your Hammer of the Ancients and consuming all of those charges that we have here. So you can see there's 3, 4. Every time you charge, you gain a stack, and until you actually use a Fury Spender, which is your Hammer of the Ancients, and you should be using it now when fire is active, it just keeps stacking up to a total of 100. So if we actually save them to 100, then once the fire Convention of Elements element becomes active, we can just start going crazy with Hammer of the Ancients, and everything just multiplies. So it multiplies with 182% from Convention of Elements, which will be a maximum of 200 if you have it in Canonized Cube, or you can roll it at a maximum of 200. It'll also benefit with our Mage Fist. Hang on, where is it? Mage Fist, which is in here, so that's another 20% fire damage, plus the braces, 19% fire damage, plus hopefully you guys roll a better amulet and you have 20% fire damage there. So you see where I'm going? All of those percentages multiply, and during those 3 seconds or so, or 4 seconds, sorry, last for 4 seconds, we've got 4 seconds to absolutely unleash a lot of fire damage. And if you have a look at Smash there, Hammer of the Ancients, Smash is actually a fire damaging element. So fire damage just multiplies with Convention of Elements, and that is when your damage window begins, your 4-second damage window. Not really suited to everybody's playstyle. Personally, I find this annoying. I actually would rather just the traditional charging barbarian, the Immortal King 6-piece plus the 4-piece Raykors, but this is still quite new to me, and if you're looking to push Greater Rifting, there really is not much better than this. You're going to be charging one way or the other. The question is, would you rather just have a Fury Dump with the Immortal King 6 and Raykors 4-piece build, or would you rather just be Hammer of the Ancients, smashing enemies once you have those charges built up? So it just depends on your playstyle and what you find more appealing to yourself. That's pretty much all that I can talk about when it comes to the build. I think I've covered off absolutely everything there. As you can see, my Barbarian is nude. How hot is he? Actually, that's a true Barbarian look instead of all this, you know, plate bloody looking armor and stuff. I really love my Barb. Now, where's my Templar? I've been doing some set dungeon runs, so I left my Templar in town. We're going to get our Templar back, and we're going to do Greater Rift run, just so I can show y'all how the game mechanics work. So like I said, we want to make sure that we're charging, getting at least 5 stacks up before we use Hammer of the Ancients when the fire element is active, which was right then. So keep in mind, like, you do have a lot to keep an eye on here, but keep in mind the fire element, it comes up straight after the frost one. So as you can see, frost there, and then we got fire. And you're going to be tempted to use Hammer of the Ancients before fire. Try not to, unless you just got like a little bit of energy to kill from an elite. That way you can probably just down him and keep on moving. But you'll be surprised how quick the fire element comes around. They're only 4 seconds each, and as I was talking, bang, it's back again there. So keep an eye on the fire element. That is your damage window after. Make sure after you have your Furious charges charged up, stacks charged up. It's a tongue twister. Make sure you wait, make sure that you charge up, make sure you stack up your Furious charges. So I got 5 there, so I could do a Hammer of the Ancients potentially at full damage, which is 5,500 damage times 5. But I'm not going to do that because I'm in town. I'm going to open up Greater Rift. We're going to do a run, and then it's over to you guys. Please let me know if this was helpful. Let me know how your Barbarians, or maybe just your seasonal journeys, are going if you're not playing a Barbarian this season. Either way, I've completed videos for every damn class and set and options and variations in the game, so check out all of my videos. Let's have some fun, do a run, and then make sure you come back for more Barbarian content, plus movie reviews, plus other gaming videos. I love you all. Let's go have some fun. GR, baby. GR. Alright, we are in, and not really a fan of this one. I was hoping for a nice open map, an outdoor map. As we veteran players know, they're the best ones, especially for a build such as this, but that's alright. So like I mentioned, keep charging and focus on that fire element. It can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to group up the enemies, especially some elite packs that like spreading out. So it can be a bit annoying. That's where the area damage comes into play and is very, very useful. But you do get used to the playstyle. Just give it a go, give it a chance. You know, it's not for everybody, that's for sure. Especially if you've just played a charging barb, this is way too similar. And there's just, you know, so many variables you have to keep in mind. You have to have your charges stacked up. You have to wait for the fire element to pop up on screen and be active. So it's not for everyone, and personally I don't find it very fun at all, but it is really good for Greater Rift, high Greater Rift pushing. It's probably the best one. Best build out there for Barbarians currently. Having said that, the Immortal Kings, like I keep mentioning, the original charging build with Immortal Kings 6 Rayquaza 4-piece is definitely second. Just nipping at the ankles of this build when it comes to GR. But otherwise, the charging can be quite annoying when you're doing bounties, or especially group Nephilim Rift runs. They can be annoying because everything dies so quickly, you haven't got a chance to charge it, so you run out of charges. So that can be annoying, definitely. But when you're playing solo, they're both pretty good, especially the traditional charging build. So what you want to do is use your threatening shout here, so you can group up enemies. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a... It's not a very good map that we've got, but I'm just going to play through and complete it now. Like I did mention, an outdoor map would be ideal. And you can definitely group up big groups of enemies, really get some density going. And when that fire element hits, then you can just start smashing with your Hammer of the Ancients after you've grouped them all up. So just that last elite there was just had a little smidge of health left, so you can just charge up your make sure you stack up your charges and then just do a couple Hammer of the Ancients and just kill him so you can get those orbs and keep on moving. You don't have to wait for the element to tick over if he's just got a little bit of health left. Just finish him off and keep on moving so we're not wasting too much time. That's what I do anyway. But you just need to test it out for yourself, really. That's the beautiful thing about Diablo. I love it. There's just so many variables and so many options. Accustomed to different play styles. Everyone's just so different. What one person likes, another may not. What works for one may not work for another, and so on and so on. Oh man, this brick wall is so annoying. Oh my god. Not brick wall, stone wall. So thank you all for tuning in. This is the build video. The set dungeon guide will be coming up next. Like I mentioned, I'm going to be redoing, like, as I go through different classes in different seasons, I'm going to do new videos for, well, I mean, all of the builds and all of the sets, they've all been buffed pretty much, so there's differences with all of the armor sets for every class, so it's pretty exciting times for Diablo 3 players. A lot of versatility and a lot of buffs happening, so a lot of changes. Some weaker sets are now super powerful, and etc, etc. So it's an exciting time to revisit all of those sets in different builds, and also do the set dungeons. I always liked doing set dungeons. Originally, when I did them, I really actually enjoyed them. I loved helping people. Nothing makes me happier than when people tell me that they got their set dungeon wings because of my help. This guy's so annoying. Look at him. How'd he even survive that? And now he's kind of dodging me. Look at him run around. The movement is just so annoying. Come here. Come here. Oh my god, look at him. He's running away. Super annoying. I'm gonna enjoy killing you. You stupid spear. Oh my god, I want to just kill you. There you go. Dead. So as far as future content goes, this is the charging build, and I really want to move on to something different with the Barbarian. I've been charging the entire season. Immortal Kings charging with 4-piece Rayquaza, and now full Rayquaza charging. It's just like I'm over the charging skill. I'm just burnt out. It does work well, and I'm definitely going to probably keep it there, like if I want to start pushing some greater rifts and maybe farm, level up gems and just do, you know, as high greater rift as possible with a charge build just to level up the gems. But, you know, as far as bounties and Nephilim Rift goes, like, I need something new. So looking forward to checking out the other two sets. There have been changes to them as well, big time, so super excited. Excited to move away from the charging. Oh man, my nose is so itchy, but I can't scratch it. And the charges also make your fingers go numb, like after you keep clicking and do greater rift after greater rift and, you know, rinse, repeat, like your fingers just, like, my fingers go so numb. I don't know if it's like from old age or what the go is, but they do go very numb. Alright. I can't even see what the hell where I am. So that was one elite pack that we killed. These two idiot giants. Run out of charges. So this is what I'm talking about. Like when you're down to 2 enemies, it's super annoying. Because a single enemy, you get your charges back. They recharge. Your charges recharge. If you have 3 enemies or more, they recharge. If you have 2, ba-bam. It's the dead zone. But I want my orbs. We're making good time now. We're pulling ahead nicely. But see, once you get more density, this build really shines. Like those first couple floors were super annoying. But I'm not going to be like here, sitting here all day trying to roll the best possible greater rift just for, you know, just to show off. It is what it is. It's realistic. Sometimes we don't roll the best greater rift, so you just deal with it. Play on. Don't reset. Don't reset, just play on. Don't waste that rift stone. Alright, so... Oh, nice pylon there. Bit of density here, so it's... I reckon if we find one more elite pack, we'll definitely make the Guardian pop. And... what's that I see in the corner of my eye? I spy with my little eye something beginning with... E. Elite pack. Yeah, so after these guys, one of them is shielded. He's immune. That's alright, once we're down this, the Rift Guardian will pop. And then we can move on to the set dungeon, the full 6-piece Raikors, the Raikor set dungeon. We're going to go through that. That'll be happening in the next 24 hours. So make sure you come back and check out the set dungeon. Maybe something's changed. Maybe you need it for some achievements this season, so make sure you come back. If not, you can come back and see me, spend some time with me, and chat in the comments below. And like I have been saying, make sure that you guys and gals add me on Instagram. It's the best way to direct message me, so we can chat there. The comments are good and everything, but if you want to DM me, just, you know, just the two of us talking in private, Instagram's the way. Now we've got to be careful of that toxic sludge. And what you want to do with the Rift Guardian, again, get your charges up. Once you have that fire element, rain down with that Hammer of the Ancients. Just be careful not to stand in that toxic sludge there and use. But nothing changes with the Rift Guardian. Just keep those charges, keep getting your charges up, and then just wait for the fire elemental to tick over. And there you go. So Greater Rift done. That was like an easy run. For those of you wondering why I chose to do like just a 90, it's because I'm talking. I don't have to like fully focus and absolutely be, you know, 100% into the Greater Rift itself. I can talk, I can show people an example. It's easy to show people an example of the gameplay, and you won't get turned off by some really lengthy Greater Rift push, which would have taken forever. So that was my Greater Rift example. I love finishing off with some gameplay there. Check out the build. Let me all know what you think in the comments below. Please like if you found this helpful, and as always, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. That way you can keep notified for all future content. And like I already mentioned, more Barbarian videos coming at you. The set dungeon for Raikors will be coming up next, and then we're going to be checking out some other sets and different builds and variables that we can come up with for the Barbarian class. So exciting times ahead. There's also some movies that I want to talk about and review as well in the next 2 days, in the next 24 to 48 hours. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button, and if you already have, just keep on coming back. And as difficult as it will be, try not to miss your creepy uncle too much.